Good morning, Hoppers. This is Mrs. Sutliff with your writing lesson for the day. Hoppers, I want to tell you a little story today just to get you into the mindset of what we'll be doing today. We have some very important and very different kind of work to do. So I went shopping recently with my nephew Quinn, and I don't know if you know Quinn. You don't know Quinn. I don't talk about him very much, but he's my nephew, and he is a video game maniac. Okay, he can play any video game better than I can. And so we were shopping, and we went inside this store, and there was this display where you could try to play this brand new video game that had just come out. And we waited patiently so he could have a turn because he was pretty excited. And he got up there and he tried this game that he had never played before, and he could play it better than anyone else that was there in that store. And he's amazing like that. He is a video game maniac, but it's not just that he's good at the games he owns, he's good at every game he plays. Now, I have a point. I have a reason for sharing this story. As we were walking out of the store, and it was time for us to go, I asked him, Quinn, how in the world are you so good at that video game that you have never played before? And he said, get this, he said that it was easy because it was similar to a game he's already played before. And he said this, I just apply what I know. He's 7, okay? And he said, I apply what I know about this video game to play this other new video game, okay? So there's the connection. Today, you are going to apply what you know, and we're going to actually go back and we're going to do the pre-writing stage of the writing process again today, and we're going to be working on, hang on a second. Here we go. We're going to be working on choosing either a narrative or an opinion essay, okay? Narrative or opinion. We're going to pick one. Or, hey, if you really want to, you can plan to do both. And you're going to put it in your information report, okay? So hopefully now you're seeing why I was talking about applying what you know. I have already taught you with our first unit, Unit 1, how to write narratives. Those were the stories that we worked on. And I have already taught you how to write an opinion piece. That was Unit 2. We did that before winter break. And those were the essays that we were writing. Okay? Now, you have a chance to apply what you know about writing stories and writing essays to put in your information report, because it's always good to go back and work on something that you already know how to do to keep those skills fresh. All right? So today you are either going to use sequence, which is a text structure, and plan out good details in your narrative, and you're going to do that with a story mountain. Hopefully you remember the story mountains that we used to brainstorm our stories. Oh, that was a long time ago. If you check the board, you can see what page your story mountain is on, and you can make a new one in your notebook. All right, so that's what you'll be doing to make sure your story has good sequence, step-by-step structure. Or if you want to do an essay, you can use the essay frame to give your essay plan good structure, and also be thinking about persuasive signal words. You remember those signal words from our blue booklet that tell us, ooh, this is a persuasive text. Okay, you're going to want to be thinking about that. And fourth graders, I do have an example of each of those, and I'm just going to go over them quickly, but I'm not going to take the time to really show you, because you can always go back and watch the old videos on how to do a story mountain or how to do an essay box and bullets if you don't know. But I'm just going to show you what I came up with for Japan, okay? All right, so here's my first idea. This is for narratives that will go in your information topics. My Japan narrative, okay? I was thinking about how history can sound a whole lot like stories. In fact, history are stories, just true stories, okay? So I thought, hey, I could do sequence with a narrative and tell a history story as if I was there. And then I thought, that sounds like a lot of work. I would strongly encourage you to do that if you want to, but I started second guessing myself, and then I thought of this and said, I want to write a Japanese creation myth as if it is a story with characters and dialogue, and there's going to be actions my characters are going to take, and maybe even I'll figure out a way to put a theme into my story. So in order to do this, I need to research the creation myths from Japan. So I might have to actually spend time researching today instead of really writing and creating my story mountain, but it'll be worth it because when I'm all done, I'm going to have this story that tells a Japanese creation myth in a very creative way, and that is such a cool idea for an information report. All right, so there's an idea for you. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, that's great, Mrs. Sutliff, but I'm not writing about Japan, how can I put a story in my report? Well, I've got some suggestions for you. So get your pencil and your notebook ready and jot these down if you want to do a story. You could draw a story mountain in your notebook for this. And I'm thinking right now, if you are researching an animal, could you write a story about a scientist who is searching for this particular animal out in the wild so that this scientist can study the animal? And your story is about looking for that animal. And at the end of the story, the scientist finds the animal and is able to complete the study. There's a story idea for you. What else? Okay, if you are writing a report on another place like mine, you could totally turn your history section of your information text into more of a story rather than just giving the facts of the history of that place. You could turn it into a story. If you are doing a topic like favorite sport or something along those lines where it has nothing to do with animals, you could still write a story. Maybe, I have an idea. Favorite sport. What if you wrote a story about the person who invented the sport and you showed how that person came up with the idea step by step, showing that real person as a character in a story and how they came up with that sport. That's a really good idea. I would read that story. How about this? If you have an idea, maybe it wouldn't fit your topic, but you have an idea for a story, go ahead and post it on Edmodo so other people can see your ideas. All right, we're going to move on to the next section now. And please feel free to ask me if you can't quite think of a story idea. If I'm in between conferences, you can come and ask me. All right, moving on. This right here is the essay idea that I had for my information topic on Japan. It took a while for me to come up with this, actually. Choosing essays to write based on topics can be a little tricky. I had to actually step back and think hard about this one, and then I figured out what I was doing. I was paying attention to something about the topic that it really kind of surprised me, but in a really good way. Like I had this strong positive emotion to this thing that I learned about how Japan works, and it really surprised me, but I was like, whoa, that is a really cool idea that they do that. Man, we should do that too. Okay, so here's the idea that I had right down here. So if you didn't know, you probably didn't know this, in Japan, every single student joins a school club. In Japan, they don't have clubs the way that we do here in America. They have clubs for everything, and they all meet at their school. So they have a club for all the sports that you can play, but they also have a club for all the different kinds of fine arts activities that you can do, like a photography club and a painting club and a tea ceremony club. It's crazy. They have clubs for everything. They have clubs for playing board games, like they have Chinese checkers as a club and this game called Go that you can play. They have literally a club for everything. everything. Okay, they have a club for people who like to make videos, and they have a club for people who like to write, and people who like to everything. If you have a topic in mind for a club, maybe it's a hobby, they have a club for that. And I think that it's so cool that they do that, and I think that people in America should have a club that they join, and they should be able to go to that club at school just like they do in Japan. So that's how I came up with my essay idea. It was tricky. I had to think about a really surprising and interesting fact about my topic, and then I had to think really hard about what I thought about that topic. And it could, like I said, be a very strong negative emotion as well as a positive emotion. So some other ideas that I have, let's say that you're doing an animal for your topic, okay? And your animal's habitat, where your animal lives, you find out is being threatened by people who need more buildings, or they need more, I don't know, they need more shopping centers, they need more roads, they need an airport, I don't know what, but people are encroaching on your animal's habitat to build more buildings for people. That is not cool, because your animal is losing its place where it lives, and it might die out because of that. Don't you feel like maybe that'd be the perfect thing to write an essay about? You care about that. You care about your animal surviving and not being threatened by people. You should write an essay about how we should not steal this animal's habitat, because then all of these things happen to it. Okay, that's a very strong opinion you could write about. Let's see. If you're writing about a place like me, I would strongly recommend you search very carefully throughout all of your research for something that they do in that country that you have a strong emotional reaction to. Maybe it's a negative emotion. Maybe there's something that happens in this country that you don't think is right, and you want to write about why they shouldn't do that because it's just doesn't feel like it's fair to you or whatever, okay? Think about it. You might come up with something. Maybe something that's very similar, or maybe something that's very different than how you think or feel about the topic. But remember, an essay is your opinion. So it has to be what you think, and that makes me think about what we were doing just yesterday with writing, where we had to write down the facts from our research, and then we had to write what we think about it. Okay, so if you put that kind of spin on this, it might actually be easier to come up with an essay idea, because we were thinking about our research yesterday. So, moving on here, I bet I could think of at least one more idea for topic. Okay, let's say you're doing a sport. I know I keep talking about animals and places and sports, but I don't know if you guys are researching other things. You need to let me know so I can help you come up with ideas outside of these three areas. But anyways, if you're researching a sport, you could write an essay about how kids should be more active, and then listing all the reasons why it's really beneficial for a student to, or a kid, or even a person in general, to be active in their life instead of just sit on the couch like a bump on a log, right? Why is it good for you? What are the benefits of being active? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If you have ideas for other essays that you could write about your opinion, you are going to be replying to this video post on Edmodo and sharing your thoughts. Or if you feel like it would be a little scary to share your idea, at least make sure that you read what other people are sharing so that you get a feel for whether or not you understand what I'm asking you to do today. All right, so let's get started with trying that. It's time to see what you can do. I really want to see the sorts of story ideas and essay ideas you can come up with. Remember, they have to relate back to your information topic idea. Okay? So if you're researching ants, you need to write me an essay about why people should have ant farms, because of these three reasons that you came up with, because it's educational and it's fun and it's cool. I don't know. Okay. So hop onto Edmodo. You're already there, sorry. Make your choice. Are you going to write an essay? That's your opinion. Or are you going to write a narrative? That's a story. Or do you feel like you maybe even will have time for both? And then I really do want you to tell us a little bit about your ideas. Trust me, even if it seems like it might not be a good idea now, other people might see that and get an idea for their essay or for their narrative story. So be brave and post what you want to do, okay? Go ahead and pause the video right here and then go on over to the right side and click in the reply box and tell us what you're planning to do. Share your choice, narrative or essay, or both. Tell us a little bit about how your story or essay fits in with your topic. Get ideas from others in class. Pay attention to what you're doing, and hey, if you're going to reply, please stay on topic. I want complete sentences telling us about this, not other off-topic things, okay? So go ahead and pause right now and do this. Okay, hoppers, really quickly, I just want to share what I came up with. This is my box and bullets for my Japan essay about how we should have clubs the way that the Japanese students all are members of a club in Japan. Notice that I came up with 3 reasons. Okay, and then each of my 3 reasons has 3 bullets. Okay, I did not get lazy here. I remembered everything that I learned about getting reasons and evidence to support those reasons, and I used everything that I know about writing essays to get my brainstorm or my essay frame ready, okay? If you want to pause and try and read my chicken scratch so that you can get a good idea of the kinds of reasons and evidence, feel free to do that. This is basically what my essay will be about, so if you want to look at it, go ahead. Okay, for my story mountain, I turned my notebook sideways and I drew a mountain and I just started planning out the steps in my mountain. And I did this after I did some research online and I found a Japanese creation myth about yin and yang. And it had to do with before there being heaven and earth, there was darkness. And then there was this giant swirling mass in the shape of an enormous egg. And it contained all things. And so in the beginning there was an egg. Okay? The egg, as time went on, it started to kind of become separated into a light side and a dark side. And those sides were like opposite of each other. And those two opposites eventually became a man and a woman who you could possibly call a god and a goddess. So the light side was the goddess Izanami, and the dark side was Izanagi, who was the god. Okay, so yin and yang have actually these Japanese names, Izanagi and Izanami. Notice the similarities in the names. It's kind of hard to tell them apart. Anywho, as the story goes, these two looked down upon this empty mass of flowing energy that was around this egg and just decided that they needed to create the world, and so they did. And after they created the world, a few other really complicating random things happened, but in the end they decided to live together because they realized that they would have peace and harmony together, because if you guys know what a yin-yang is, it's got a dark side and a light side, and the yin cannot exist without the yang. They go together and complement each other. So that is my story of the Japanese creation myth of the world called Yin and Yang. And hopefully I write it so you can ask me to read it sometime, because it sounds pretty interesting, doesn't it? Alright, I'm going to give you your directions for the workshop today. Keep listening. I know this has been a long video. Here are your directions. First, I need you to open your writing notebook. We're not going to be on the computer today, so you can put the computer away, or you can leave it open to this video. Pause right here to see the directions, but you're using your writing notebook today. Turn to the very next blank page in your notebook and label it with either narrative or essay, whichever one you decided to do. But make sure you put the word topic there, because I really want you to be able to find it quickly and be like, oh yeah, this is my topic story or my topic opinion essay. All right. Then after you've labeled it, you're going to just brainstorm today. Start brainstorming. You might consider free writing instead of just brainstorming with that essay frame or with that story mountain. If you want to just jump right in with free writing, that's a way to brainstorm as well. Be sure when you're doing this to include information about your topic, okay? Do not just go off on this weird tangent where you tell a story. It needs to tie back to what you're learning about your topic. It absolutely needs to, or else you are not doing what you're supposed to do today. So keep that in mind. Work on your essay frame until it's done. And if you have time, you can start your narrative, or you can start the narrative first, and then if you have time, you can do an essay, if you are going to do both, that is. Don't feel like you have to do both. I'd really like for you to either pick one or the other, and hey, you could even think about which one do you probably need to work on more, narratives or essays. All right, that's it for today, hoppers. Happy writing. Please be productive. Try and get your whole entire brainstorm done today. All right? Good luck.